Hey everyone, welcome to our video series. And today we're talking about what I think is a topic that will resonate with a lot of people, but it's the five biggest retirement mistakes that people make. But the good news is you can still avoid these mistakes. And so I'm Cary Smith, and I'm here with Cheri Turner.
Mhm.
And Cheri and I are with Client First Capital. And Cheri, let's just jump into this topic. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in what we have to say. So again, we're talking about the five biggest retirement mistakes, but it's easy to avoid these with just a little bit of proper and prior planning. So why don't you kick us off?
Right, sure. So the first one is claiming Social Security too early. Believe it or not, more than half of retirees actually claim Social Security before their full retirement age. So while it might seem like a good idea to start collecting benefits as early as like 62, this permanently reduces the amount that you'll receive now and in the future. Each year that you delay beyond your full retirement age, your monthly benefit actually increases by about 8%. So that benefit can add up quickly and it's guaranteed to continue for life, which is a hard benefit to beat. So if we kind of break that down, if your full retirement age is 67 and say you're set to receive about 2,000 a month, if you instead filed at 62, your monthly benefit would drop to about 1,400 a month. And then if you were to actually wait until 70 versus 67, that monthly income could actually increase to about 2,480 a month. So that's a difference of over $1,000 each month between filing early and waiting and filing at 70. So one thing that many people overlook is that claiming early can also reduce your survivor benefits. So that amount that your surviving spouse or other parties might be eligible to receive indefinitely into the future.
So Cheri, I'm so glad that this one was first. So one, this is probably the biggest mistake we see people make. And unfortunately, for some people, we don't talk to them until they've already made that election and then they've already started receiving those benefits. And it's just and so it's too late for most people that we talk to that have already started. But at the same time, I would just put out there that there are sometimes really good reasons to take Social Security early, right? And so one is just simply you need the money. You don't have other
Mhm.
retirement savings, and it's your primary source of income, and your lifestyle will suffer, right, if
Mhm.
you don't take those benefits. So that's one reason. Another could be you have health issues, and specifically if they're health issues that could reduce your life expectancy,
Mhm.
then it might be worth it to do a little analysis and determine, should you take it early or not. And a third one is for some people they have retirement savings, they just maybe don't have as much as they would like, and it
Mhm.
can reduce the pressure on their portfolio and help it
True.
last longer. So there's some reasons that a person might want to take it early, but
Yes.
to the point that you're making here, if you do the math, and thousands of people have done the math and posted their articles and put their videos out there,
Yeah.
it's better to wait if you can.
In general, yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Right.
So that was number one. What's number two, Cheri?
So number two is not having a specific withdrawal strategy. So for some people, they just withdraw whatever they need whenever they need it without an actual clear plan. And you can run into issues this way. First is what we call the sequence of returns risk, where we've discussed this before, which means if you have to withdraw from your portfolio early on during a market downturn, early in your retirement, then that can have lasting impact on the and permanently reduce the overall lifetime of your savings. And then also, it's not just about timing; it's also about the source and where you're pulling it from. Are you pulling from a taxable brokerage account, or from your IRA, or from your Roth IRA? So, being very specific and having an actual plan and the sequence in which you're going to withdraw those funds does have a major impact on your tax implications and how long your money's going to last.
Yeah. And so there's risk of not having a strategy, right? And so, one of the risks I think just simply put is you could run out of money, right?
Right.
before
Right.
before you run out of years. And
Yeah.
and so you don't want that to happen. And so a strategy helps make sure that that you're going to withdraw at a healthy rate. And sometimes some people learn whenever they have a strategy, Cheri, is that they actually can live a better retirement than they think they're living. And so they're actually not withdrawing
Right.
enough because they've not done the numbers and looked at the guardrails and know what they can get. So having a strategy, I think, is important. But you also might be missing out on some tax benefits and tax savings by not having a strategy as well. And so having a withdrawal strategy, I think, for all the reasons you said, is important. So let's move on to number 3, Cheri. What's our third biggest retirement mistake?
Sure. Our third mistake is underestimating healthcare and long-term care costs. And I know that we've discussed this many times in the past as well, that this is one of those areas that can completely derail your whole retirement plan. People forget that Medicare doesn't cover everything. You still have your monthly premiums for Parts D and Part B. You have your co-pays, deductibles, out-of-pocket expenses for things like your dental, vision, hearing aids, prescriptions are, in addition and beyond. So we can't forget the care of supplemental and our Medicare Advantage plans, that type of thing. But the real financial curveball does come when we're talking about long-term care, whether it's home health aides or assisted living, memory care facilities, or nursing homes. These expenses can rise over $60,000 to up to $100,000 per year, depending on where you live. So this is one of those areas that not really planning around these expenses really puts at limit your financial plan and your ability to respond.
Yeah, so Cheri, sometimes we think, yeah, these things aren't going to happen to me. And years ago, I was talking to my dad about the importance of long-term care insurance, and his line to me was, "I'm not going to need it. I'm just going to wake up dead one morning, right?" And and that was his strategy. And fortunately, he was able to plan for it. But a lot of people think, these things aren't going to happen to me. I'm not going to stay in a facility. But I would say the odds and the statistics say something different, right? And it's worth planning for. And by planning, sometimes planning is you need to buy some long-term care insurance. Other time the planning is let's earmark some assets so that we can pay those bills if they come due. But what's important is that we have a plan to be able to pay for these. And then, also to your point, but there's Medicare Part B premiums, there's Medicare supplement premiums, or if you're going to go Medicare Advantage, right? And then there's, co-pays and deductibles and things of that nature. So those expenses can really add up over time. And it's important that they're a part of our planning. And so, yeah, so really good points. All right, Cheri, what is our fourth possible mistake?
Yeah, our fourth area of potential mistakes is ignoring taxes in retirement or not having a specific tax strategy. So a lot of people assume that their tax bill will just shrink in retirement because they're not working anymore, right? But that's not always the case. Between your required minimum distributions, any Social Security that might be taxable, capital gains, and even Medicare IRMA surcharges, your taxes could actually end up going up. So if you delay your RMD planning, you could end up being forced to withdraw large RMDs after age 73. So having tax planning and Roth conversion planning done early on in retirement can help to address some of those concerns. And then we're also seeing that the current tax brackets are currently potentially set to expire in 2026. So some people may see themselves moving into a higher tax bracket as well.
Yeah, so, really good points. So Cheri, I would say it this way. So most people aren't ignoring their taxes in the sense that they're just not paying them. But what they are ignoring is they're ignoring the strategy and maybe ignoring these tax advantages that they could be taking advantage of, right? And by not having a strategy. And there's a lot of different strategies that can be employed. And, you know, when you retire, sometimes for a lot of people, your biggest expense is taxes. So anything that you can do to reduce that expense is worth the effort, and it's worth it to do some tax planning and have a good long-term tax strategy.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So I don't have a drum roll to play, but we're at our fifth and final possible mistake that a person could make as they retire. So what's the fifth one?
Yeah. So the fifth one is retiring without a financial plan. Many people think that retirement is the finish line, and it's not. It's actually the starting point of a 25 to 30 year journey for most people. So it's really, you don't want to go into that just flying blind. So whether you just have a 401k or a pension plan, that's not really a plan, or knowing that you're ready. Without a plan to cover your income sources, your tax strategies, your healthcare plans, and then your lifestyle goals, right? What do you want your retirement to really look like? And having that being part of the plan. And the consequence of not having a plan going into retirement, sometimes you can end up overspending in those early years, missing out on tax saving opportunities like we talked about in the prior point, and really just underestimating how long your money needs to last. So having a budget alone is really not enough, but having a true, full, comprehensive financial plan that brings all of these parts and pieces together is really the way to find peace of mind in retirement.
So Cheri, it almost seems like if you ignored the first four that we talked about, and the only one that you did was, you know, you made sure you had a good comprehensive financial plan, I think the other four would be taken care of, because that financial plan, you're going to talk about when are you going to take Social Security, right? And so you're going to have that in your plan. You're going to have a withdrawal strategy, right, to make sure that you're taking advantage of any tax opportunities that you have, that you won't outlive your money, right? Or that you can, you know, spend enough to enjoy, you know, a great retirement. Also, you're not going to underestimate healthcare and long-term care plan. It's going to be part of the discussion. It's going to be built into the plan. You're going to have a tax strategy, right? And so those first four, I think, are going to be covered. And additionally, you might have some good investment strategies and estate planning and other things that go into this financial plan. So that may be, if you just do number five, 1 through 4 may be taken care of.
Right.
Okay. All right, Cheri, any final thoughts before we close this?
You know, I'd say whether you're already retired or just getting ready to, you know, now is the time to take that first step and make sure your plan is in place.
Okay. Well, thanks for this topic. Thanks for going into detail on these 5 items. And for everyone out there, thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. It helps others find our content. Also, if you're planning for retirement and you just would like to have a second opinion, we'd love to help by offering a free financial consultation. You can reach out to us at clientfirstcap.com. And don't forget to check out other videos that we have as well. And I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you.